There are 9 rhythm patterns beginners can never quite get right, and this first one isn't nearly as hard as it seems. We got an 8th note with a 16th note triplet, and the way I like to think about it is the same thing if we had 4 pairings of 8th notes counted as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, but the big difference is that we're replacing the second 8th note here with a triplet, which would look something like that. So it's going to be counted as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. In the original rhythm, I had quarter notes after, so let's count it out like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I continue to count 2 and 3 and 4 and here to maintain a consistent tempo. This next one's easy to count but difficult to play, and you're probably getting it wrong. So here we have a string of 8th notes, except for the first note, we actually have a rest instead. And now I'm going to play it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, but I played it wrong. Now why? Well, when we're in 4/4, there's a natural accent on beat 1 and a lesser accent on beat 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And every time signature has a different set of accents that hit on different beats. Well, if you play this like this, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, you have misplaced the accent and placed it wrong. So when you come in here on and, it's actually got to be a bit softer, and you want to hear maybe an accent on beat 3 instead. So it's going to sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We got plenty more to go, but here we have the quarter note triplet. Now, a lot of people know how to count an 8th note triplet, where we divide each beat into 3 parts, 1 triplet, 2 triplet. But this time we have a quarter note triplet, which takes up twice as much time as the 8th note triplet. So here's how to tackle that. And a quarter note triplet is really 2 8th note triplets put together, except you're saying 2 of these syllables for each one of the quarter note triplet. So the first quarter note would be here, second one would be here, and the third one over that. So to play our quarter note triplet, which would actually be here, we're actually going to be counting as 1 triplet, 2 triplet, and it's a little bit weird at first, but just give it some practice and you will get it. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3, 4. So if you need more practice on these, we will practice them at the end. Let's take a look at this one though. We have a dotted 8th combined with a 16th. And notice how those are beamed together. Now this is very important. 99% of the time, in fact, I didn't know this for a long time. I was in, this was probably 2008 or 2009. I was in school, music school, Westchester University, and Dr. Yozviak, who was the conductor there, I think he's still the conductor there, he came in one day and he said, you know, it's amazing that you guys are like high-level music students and you still don't know this simple thing. And here's what he said. He said notes that are beamed together 99% of the time, and I'll tell you the one time it breaks the rule, but 99% of the time, notes are beamed together. When they're beamed together, they form one beat. So the first beat is these 2 notes right together, and that really helps me map out the beats a lot easier. I said there was an exception to this rule, and that's when you have actually 4 8th notes all together. They like to beam these all together all the time. I don't know why, just to make me look like I'm making stuff up, I guess. That's why I said 99% of the time. This is actually still 2 beats. Don't let it confuse you. It's the only exception. Everything else does check out. So what that means is beat 1 is taken up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's talk about the specifics of it. So we have a dotted 8th note, and the question I have for you is how many beats does a dotted 8th note take up? Well, remember, and you might not know this, that the dot on a note adds half of the value back to itself. So remember, like when we have a dotted half note, for example, a half note's worth 2, plus half of 2, which is 1, equals 3. That's why a dotted half note equals 3 beats. A dotted quarter note equals 1.5 beats because it's 1 plus half of 1. But let's say we have, you know, a dotted 8th note where before it was worth half of a beat. So now we're adding half of a beat. So we have to kind of think about things in quarters now so that we can work this out. Okay, so instead of a half, I'm going to write it 2/4. So we have the same fractions. I know this is fractions in math, but so long as you can remember the answer here, that's what's most important here. It wouldn't hurt you to learn some math anyway. But anyway, you have 2 plus 4, which is, and then plus half of that. That's how we're able to do this. And now that equals 3 out of 4, right? So 3/4 of a beat. So how do we count for 3/4 of a beat? Well, I think to do this, we're going to have to draw out some 16th notes, since a 16th note by itself is 1/4 of a beat. So we can kind of use that to figure this out. Okay, so here we have a full measure of 16th notes counted as 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and Now remember, each of these 16th notes represents 1/4 of a beat, and our dotted 8th note, we're finally getting back to the original pattern here, is worth 3/4 of a beat. So it's going to take up 1 E and, because each of these syllables now represents 1/4 of a beat. And then the last one note here, the 16th note, is going to hit on because that completes the beaming across of the 4 16th notes. So our rhythm right here is really 1 E and and that's how you count the dotted 8th 16th. 1 E and Now one thing I want to mention here is we just have beats 2, 3, 4 here. They're just 8th note or quarter notes, excuse me. So what we got to do is we have to continue counting them as E and 2E and 3E and 4E and we're still going to do what's called subdivision, where we're playing like quarter notes, but we're subdividing them in smaller parts. 1E and 2E and Now you may be asking, why do we do that? Well, it's to maintain consistency in the counting. It's going to help you count a lot more accurately than if you do this. 1E and 2, 3, 4. See, that wasn't very accurate. It would be a lot accurate if I did this. 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and So if you have a piece of music and there are 8th notes anywhere in the music, I would count it as 1 and 2 and, because that's splitting them up into the 8th notes. If you see anything with 16th notes, I would count the whole piece as 1E and 2E and 3E and 4E and seems like a lot of work, but trust me, it's really going to help you avoid mistakes and count a lot more accurately. Okay, it's time for syncopation. And if you don't know what syncopation is, it's basically when instead of notes hitting on beats 1, 2, 3, and 4, they hit where you don't expect. They might hit on 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and they hit on the ands, or they hold over certain notes, and you're going to understand it a whole lot better when I explain it right now. So here, this is called a suspended syncopation, because we are suspending one of the beats and basically displacing it, and the beats hit where we don't necessarily expect. That's the whole thing with syncopation. Beats don't hit where you normally expect. So let me write out these measures, and I'll tell you how to count them. All right, here's how you're going to count this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Except that's wrong. Remember, we have this tie here. If you don't know what a tie is, it ties 2 note values together. So it ties this quarter note to this quarter note. It's kind of like having a half note in between a measure. And here's what happens, though. So we're going to hit on beat 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to hit 4, hold it over for beat 1. And the next place we move is on beat 2, 3, 4. And we actually have created a syncopation here, a very simple setup for one, because we have hit on beat 4 here. And normally, remember with 4, 4, I said there was an accent on beats 1 and beat 3. Well, we've held over beat 1 now. We did 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So really, we came in on beat 2 on that next measure, which kind of shifted the beats over. So it's a very simple form of syncopation. Next type of syncopation is the offbeat syncopation, where we start out with a rest, and then we have a quarter note. And what this does is it automatically shifts over the beat. It wouldn't work with an 8th note, because an 8th rest plus an 8th note equals a whole beat. So let me count it out, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, normally, we'd expect this quarter note to hit on beat 1 or beat 2, one of the what we call the primary beats, 1, 2, 3, or 4, not on an offbeat, right? But what's happened here is we have the rest on beat 1, and this 8th rest only takes up half of a beat. So the second half of beat 1, which is the and, hits actually where the note hits. But it's a quarter note, so it hits and 2, and then you hit on and there. So it has shifted over the beats G from where we expected, right? So let me play this out a few times so you get the feel of it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And let me try a little faster. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Syncopation has a type of off-kilter type of sound to it, which kind of adds some intrigue to how it sounds. So that is an offbeat syncopation. There's one type of syncopation we have to cover, and then actually one more rhythm thing, and then we're going to practice together, and I'm going to teach you where to go from here. Are you ready? And here's an accent. You hit it with more force, if you didn't know what an accent was. So remember, I said the accents normally hit on beats 1 and beat 3, but here it's hitting on beat 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. See how that alone, 1, 2, 3, 4, added an off-kilter type of sound. It kind of shifted over the accents from where you expect them to, and this is a different type of syncopation where looking at just the rhythm, you're like, there's not a syncopation here. But if you add in the accent, you're like, oh, there definitely is. All right, I want to talk about 3/4 really quick. And actually, I'm going to make another lesson pretty soon on some of these other time signatures. We tend to cover 4/4 a lot because it's pretty universal time signature. You can convert it to anything. But I've been talking a lot about accents in 4/4. And remember what I said, accent on beat 1 and then a lesser accent on beat 3. But what if we're in 3/4? What's the difference there? Well, it's very simple. The accent's just on beat 1. So it's going to be counted as 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And a very common type of piece in 3/4 is called a waltz. And so when I play this, I'm really putting an accent on the first beat of each measure. So let me play this through just so you get a feeling for how 3/4 sounds. Now it's time for frequent questions that I get from students all the time about counting. And this first question is a little odd, but I do want to answer it because I've gotten it more than once. The question is, how can a quarter note fall on the and of the beat, which is the second half, when a quarter note is supposed to take up an entire beat? So we did cover this a little bit, but let's tackle it. And it really goes back to this syncopated pattern we had here where we had the offbeat type of syncopation, right? So the question is, how can a quarter note hit here if it's supposed to take up a whole beat, right? Because it's hitting on the and. You'd expect an eighth note to hit there. So what gives? Well, remember, it's all about how much time each note duration takes up. A quarter note doesn't just take up one and. It can, but it takes up total of a whole beat, right? So it can take up the half of beat 1 and the first half of beat 2, and those are still two halves coming together. So that's how we can have a quarter note right here, because we have an eighth note rest, and then and 2, it still takes up two halves of that. So when we're subdividing, the number and the and each represents a half. So here's a half and here's a half, and that's how we can have a quarter note in this place of where the eighth note you would typically find should be. So you can have a quarter note right here where normally you'd expect an eighth note, because the quarter note still takes up the amount a quarter note should, which is two halves of one beat. Another question I get a lot, and let me know if you want a lesson on this in the comments. The question is, what is swing? Well, swing is a style of music where instead of playing just straight eighth notes like this, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, you are basically making the second eighth note a little bit shorter. And you can have swing actually written out in the music, or it can just say, you know, have straight eighth notes and say swing at the top. So that's just a very basic overview of what swing is. So we're going to practice these rhythms, but I have one more question, which is, how do I get better at practicing rhythm? Which is a really good question. So like with music, you don't want to just learn something and then never look at it again. So what I recommend is first, maybe watch some of these videos I put out more than once, come back to them every once in a while to refresh yourself. But what I would do also is in your music, when you find a passage of rhythms that you don't know well, write them out meticulously like we did here. You know, I wrote out the 1 eandas, 2 eandas for those 16th notes. You're going to want to start doing the same thing in your music, and you want to be get as good as possible at writing in your rhythms and solving the complicated ones. Because what students tend to do is they get to a complicated rhythm and they just fudge it, right? They just kind of like guess, and they hope the teacher doesn't notice. But we notice. So you got to get it right. So write in the rhythms of your pieces, especially if it's more difficult. And the last recommendation in terms of practice I have for you is to practice with a metronome, which helps keep each of the beats that you have. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's making sure that I'm playing at a very consistent tempo, and it will help identify problem areas where maybe like I don't have the right fingering or the right rhythm, because it will slow down and I can't keep up with the metronome. So it's good for keeping a consistent tempo and identifying mistakes. Okay, now we're going to practice all the rhythms we talked about today, except we're going to combine them kind of together to make things more challenging and so that you truly understand. So let's break down this rhythm here. We have a quarter note triplet, and then an eighth note triplet, and then a quarter note. So how in the world are we going to tackle this? Well, remember, let's solve the triplet first. That's the easiest. And remember, it's just the number. So this is beat 3, 3 triplet, right? And then we have 4 right here. We can even just count it as 4 triplet. So how in the world do we count the quarter note triplet? Remember, it's 2 eighth note triplets put together, except we're counting 2 syllables for each one. So we're going to go nice and slow here. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. And hey, it was actually easier than we thought. Once we got here, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. That's easy because now we're already counting in triplets. And that's why I decided to count the last one as 4 triplet, even though we have the quarter note, to maintain what? Consistency in the counting, which helps us count more accurately. Here we have a offbeat syncopation like before, but the rhythm's a little different. So we have beat 1 right here with the 8th rest, and that'll hit on an and 2. We've talked about that plenty. So this is exactly perfect along with that question we had, which was how does a quarter note take up, half of one beat and then the other? Well, this is 3 quarter notes right in a row, taking up the second half of a beat and the first half of the next one, and it's totally okay because it still takes up a whole beat. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Pretty easy. One more time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, this one should look familiar. It's perfect full circle, guys. This is the first rhythm we started with, but it's inversed. And right after this, I'm gonna show you what you should be practicing after this lesson. But let's tackle this one as our last rhythm of the day. So remember that I said it's really just pairings of eighth notes. So this right here is really just equal to 1 eighth note paired to this one, right? 1 and. But what are we doing here? We're putting a triplet on that first one. 1 and. Easy. 1 and. 2 and. 3 and. 4 and. Now, why did I continue to count this as 3 and 4, 2 and 3 and 4 and? Let me know in the comments. If you don't understand why I did this, you have to watch the whole lesson again. And like I said, every once in a while, you may want to come back to these as kind of a practice to refresh your knowledge. If you want to become a well-rounded musician, you need to know all the rhythms. That's why you want to watch this video next. It's another rhythm lesson I did a while ago where I cover rhythms we didn't touch today. So watch that one. It's been your piano teacher, Tim, here. Thanks for coming by today, and I'll see you next time.